Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a Hump Day edition of the Rome Show, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. We got you up for the next 30 minutes and change, and we are talking New York Knicks basketball, an epic 22-point comeback last night with 7:30 remaining in the fourth quarter. The New York Knicks found themselves down by double digits, and Jalen Brunson and the crew absolutely went off, outscoring the Cleveland Cavaliers in the final 7:30 and overtime by a score of 44-11. That's how dominant the Knicks were. Jalen Brunson in this game finished with 38 points. 17 of those points came in the final 7 minutes or overtime when the New York Knicks made the 18-1 run to cut it within 5 after the Jalen 3 right before the timeout. The score was 94-89. On that 18-1 run, Jalen Brunson amassed 13 of the team's 18 points, but contributions from Landry Shamet, 2 huge threes down the stretch. Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges, both offensively and defensively, came up clutch late in this game as well, because Karl Anthony Towns might as well not have really been on the floor. He had a double-double, 13 points, 13 rebounds, but it truly felt like Cat was non-existent in this game. At one point in time, I think the New York Knicks had like a 1.1% chance of winning the game, but never say never. My fiance says it's not over till the fat lady sings, and last night the fat lady was not singing in Broadway until an overtime period commenced. The final score, 115-104. To finish off the stat sheet, OG Anunoby returned for the Knickerbockers. He played 34 minutes, 13 points. Josh Hart had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. He played a good game, not great. Mikal Bridges, I thought, was really good later in this game, especially on defense, but he went 7 of 11 from the field and 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. I think him and Jalen Brunson were the 2 difference makers for the Knicks. Only, I believe it was 20 points combined off the bench between the 5 different players on the floor for the Knicks. The Cavs, did a fantastic job in the first 3.5 quarters of this game of doing 2 things. 1, moving the basketball, and 2, containing Jalen Brunson. If you only watch this basketball game from minute 0 to about minute 52, you would have thought, man, this is definitely the worst game Jalen Brunson has played offensively in this postseason. There truly is no Karl Anthony Towns. And for some reason, it looks like this Cleveland Cavaliers team is hitting its peak stride at the absolute right time. For 51 minutes, the Cleveland Cavaliers looked as good as advertised. The Cleveland Cavaliers looked as a team that just knocked off a number 1 seed and felt pretty comfortable to come into Madison Square Garden and take number 1 against the Knicks. But the problem is, in the biggest moments, at the most important times, Jalen Brunson was there for the New York Knicks, the 25-26 most clutch player in the National Basketball Association, or 24-25, whatever it was SGA this year, was showing why he's not just one of the most clutch guys on the Knicks, he's one of the most clutch guys in the league. And I understand you have to win a championship, and I understand you have to win on the highest stage, biggest level, in order for people to start saying you're a championship caliber guard. You can be a superstar. You can lead a team to a championship. And a lot of discussion around Jalen Brunson has been, is Jalen Brunson good enough to lead his team as the number 1 superstar and say, hey, Cat, hey, Mikhail, hey, OG, come on with me. I'm going to guide you to this championship. Jalen Brunson is that dude. I don't know what other information you need. I don't know what other intel you need to see. I don't know what he needs to do. Jalen Brunson is that dude. He's a top 3 guard in the league. He's a top 3 shooter, ball handler, top 3 clutch, top 3 fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson is a guy who every team should want, and then want the ball in his hands in the most important moments. I would like to ask you, of any point guard in the league, and I mean this honestly, youtube.com/the Romanellas. Okay. Super simple. Head to youtube.com/the Romanellas. Whether you're subscribed or you're not, we can comment in just like our friend Meg here. Hey. Just like our friend Meg here. Comment on the YouTube and tell me, is there a better guard in the league than Jalen Brunson? Is there? I would love to know. Because I don't know if there is, man. Jalen Brunson, Mount Rushmore, point guards, National Basketball Association, right now, has to be in that conversation. Has to be in that conversation. And no matter what, when you're having a conversation, okay, when you're having a conversation about most clutch, he's already cemented himself in that conversation. And what I saw last night, outside of Jalen Brunson merely just showing the Knicks fans, I am your captain here, let's ride. You have 0 things to worry about with me. If even on my worst day, I can have that fourth quarter and overtime, let's ride. Look on the other side, man. You got 2 future Hall of Famers in Cleveland that combined for 3 total points in the final 12 minutes and 40 seconds of game number 1. While Jalen Brunson is scoring 1.2 points per minute, if not more, to get his team back in this game and to keep them alive to try and win this contest. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell were a combined 1 for 10 from the field, 0 for 5 from three-point land, and scored 3 combined points. There's a reason why James Harden has never won a championship in his career. There's a reason why Donovan Mitchell is in his first. He's in his first conference finals of his career. There's a reason for that. Because when your team has a 22-point lead If you are clutch worthy, championship worthy, you will never relinquish that lead. And look no further than 2025 postseason New York Knicks, Indiana Pacers, 20-point lead, Tyrese Halliburton. Here we go. And the Knicks blew that lead, and sure enough, were the Knicks ready to win a title? No. They were not. Neither were the Pacers. And now the Pacers haven't been the same in 2 years. Well, that's 2024, maybe not 2025. Nonetheless, the Knicks have been there. They have learned from that experience, and their best player, Jalen Brunson, probably is never letting that happen again. And when he had the chance to write his own story in terms of the comeback, down 22, 7:42 remaining, Jalen Brunson, Mr. Clutch, led the Knicks back. I don't see a path now where the New York Knicks are not in the championship. And this is not, I mean this honestly, this is not Andrew being hot take guy. I can promise you that. Okay?
Ooh, hot take.
It's not me being hot take guy. Going into the series, I thought it could have gone 6 or 7. Going into the series, I mentioned that you'd want the Detroit Pistons as it's currently being played out rather than the Cleveland Cavaliers because of how well at the time, still believe it though, the Cavs were playing, whatever terminology you want to use, past or present tense. After you lose a game like that, I understand it's only one game in the grand scheme of a potential 7. But that is a demoralizing loss. That is a mentally draining loss. That is a very difficult loss to come back from. And so if I went into this series thinking it was going 6, I now believe the Knicks have a chance to sweep or at least gentleman's sweep. I think the Cavs are too good talent-wise to let that happen. Again, especially if they just knocked off the Detroit Pistons, the 1 seed in round number 2. But you cannot have James Harden and Donovan Mitchell being that unclutched down the stretch. Why is Sam Merrill taking the most important shot of the year for the Cleveland Cavaliers? And by the way, he almost drained it. But there's not a world where if I'm a Cavaliers fan, I don't not want the ball in Donovan Mitchell's hands. That's the truth. And I might want it in Merrill's hands over James Harden. I might even want it in Jared Allen's hands over James Harden on some nights. And if that's the case, it's going to be difficult for the Cavs to win. Because if you have a Hall of Fame guard in James Harden who cannot play Hall of Fame worthy in the postseason, it's going to be a struggle. And I wanted to shout out Harden before the collapse. I'm like, he's playing some pretty good defense. Like, he might not be scoring a lot. And then he hits the bucket with 30 seconds left to give them the lead. And I'm like, yo, that was like low-key kind of clutch, James Harden. But win or lose, the totality of that game is just not good enough from one of your 2 superstars. It's not good enough for one of your 2 superstars to go 1 for 8 from beyond the arc. It's not good enough for one of your 2 superstars to shoot 35% from the field. That's not good enough. It is not good enough for your point guard or guards, because they both can play point guard, combined for 10 turnovers. That's not good enough. And last night, the New York Knicks did 2 things. I think they proved to themselves they are that good, because now you've literally won a basketball game every single way in this postseason. And if that doesn't give you the confidence down the stretch to say, okay, we can find ourselves in any game at any time, and we are good enough to win that game, that is a dangerous place to be. Meg, tuning in on the YouTube. Anyone can write in youtube.com/the Romanellas. We are live on Instagram as well, The Rome Show 1, Twitter, X, and Instagram. Follow us there, facebook.com/The Rome Show. Some other basketball news outside of game number 2 of the Western Conference Finals kicking off tonight between the Spurs and the Thunder. Friendly reminder, that game in game number 1 of their series also went to overtime, double overtime. So for those that have never really been basketball fans, or those that have said, well, basketball's not that entertaining, or it's super teams, or any of the cliches you've heard over the last decade, if you've listened to the Rome Show, I've been explaining those commonalities have been slowly getting themselves pegged down. And we are starting to get into a world where basketball at the NBA level is super exciting. And there's plenty of stars. I mean, left right now, Victor Wembanyama, Stephen Castle, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2-time most valuable player, Chet Holmgren. I love watching Alex Caruso ball, outside the fact that Dort's entertaining as hell and other people down the line. You got Jalen Brunson, should be Karl Anthony Towns, right? Donovan Mitchell, James Harden. Like, these are big names, good players averaging 25 a night or more, players that you want to spend your money to go watch. Entertaining, exciting. And you have game 2 tonight in the West, by the way. OKC's favored in that by 6.5. I'm taking the Spurs at the plus 6.5 there. I don't know what this OKC team can do with Wembanyama. I don't know. And will Chet Holmgren and or Isaiah Hartenstein show up tonight for the Thunder, grow some, and go toe-to-toe with the 7'4" big man? Because though he's got height, he's got a little bit more moxie. You can bully him around a little bit. Let's put some bodies on the skinny guy. Come on. But I don't know how OKC handles Victor Wembanyama. That's going to be a huge key for this game tonight. Like I said, OKC's favored at home in game 2 by 6.5. I just think this series is going to be way close the entire time. So I am taking the Spurs at the plus 6.5 there. Do I believe OKC will win? Yes. Is it a hard belief? No, it's more 70-30 than anything else. That was the most they looked like they could get beat in game number 1 that I've ever seen. And what's messed up about that is they lost in double overtime. So think about what I just said right there. Okay. But as we've said all year, if there's a team, it's the San Antonio Spurs. Jason Kidd out as the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. 5 seasons. In 5 seasons, Jason Kidd had a 205-205 record, perfectly 500. He was 22-18 in the playoffs. He took the Dallas Mavericks to 2 conference finals and 1 NBA finals, where they lost. They missed the playoffs 3 times. And here is the most damning stat, I think, of all when it comes to Jason Kidd and him losing his job in Dallas. Luka Doncic was there for 4 of Kidd's 5 years until Nico Harrison decided to be the worst general manager in the history of sports. With Luka Doncic in the lineup, Jason Kidd was 136-87 as a head coach. With Luka Doncic out of the lineup, Jason Kidd was 69-118. Some his fault, I'm sure. Every head coach, as I know, must take blame for negative things or poor things happening in their program or their organization. But when your general manager trades your best player in the middle of a season after it is point blank proven that that guy is the main ingredient to the winning formula, it's very hard to be a good head coach. If I'm Jason Kidd, I'm almost okay with it. If I'm Jason Kidd, I'm almost cool with it. Like, you know what? This was a recipe for disaster. And I love the draft pick that we got last year, but you get back Anthony Davis, you got some older pieces. I just don't think it looks great. And by the way, a new president of basketball operations wants to change everything anyways. And that is Masai Ujiri, who said, as we evaluate the future of our basketball program, we believe this is the right moment for a new direction for our team. Ujiri said in a statement, we have a high expectations for this franchise and a responsibility to build a basketball organization capable of sustained championship contention. Yeah, well, had your old general manager not let go of your best player, you'd probably still be there. We will conduct a thorough, disciplined search for our next head coach and continue to evaluate our entire basketball operations staff to ensure we compete at the standard Mavs fans expect and deserve. That standard has not existed since Luka was traded. Meg wrote, I was a fan, then the Supersonics leaving Seattle happened. We'll never watch again, even if the Supersonics came back as planned. I gotta disagree with you there, Meg. I gotta disagree with you there. The Brooklyn Dodgers, they existed in New York. Then they left and they became the Los Angeles Dodgers, and had all of the New York fans taken the exact same stance, the New York Metropolitans would have an atrocious fan base, if no fan base at all. And I got to be honest with you, the Mets have been a fantastic addition, though they frustrate us sometimes, and they do stink. Don't take it out on the sport. You can be mad at the franchise. You can be annoyed that franchises leave, but that's an owner thing. That's not a National Basketball Association thing. If actually I look at it, the National Basketball Association loves Seattle so much, they're putting a WNBA team there, and they're trying to bring the Supersonics back. So I do agree that it is frustrating when a franchise leaves, but that is not necessarily a sport thing. Sometimes it is, right? Montreal Expos going to Washington to be the Nationals. Major League Baseball messed that one up a little bit. But in the National Basketball Association, from what I understand, Seattle is loved. It was the ownership group that was the a-holes that wanted the Seattle Supersonics to move to Oklahoma City. I also can't disagree with the decision. I mean, 15 years later, you're the best team in the NBA. You have the two-time MVP. You've won a championship, and you might get basketball back in Seattle. So it could be a win-win, both for the Seattle fans and the league. But I understand any fan that wants to be frustrated because their franchise gets uprooted and taken somewhere else. I agree. I would understand why Montreal Expos fans wouldn't like baseball right now, right? Because of what happened to their team in the mid to late 90s. Okay? I understand that. But I also understand that there's a lot of politics that go into this, and owners are assholes. And I think owners definitely are the greed that causes the frustration. And then we as fans are unfortunately left to sit there, Meg, in the rubble. And now we have to change. It's messed up. It is messed up. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we talk game number 1, Western Conference Finals, Vegas Golden Knights versus the Colorado Avalanche. By the way, college baseball playoffs has started, and I got some schedule things I want you to look at and some notes you need to know, because it is arguably the best moment right now for baseball. For the next 2 months, you have the Division I college tournaments, conference, regional, super regional, college World Series, and you are hitting the heightened moment in Major League Baseball, where the next 2 months determine, is a team good? Is a team not good? Where are we going from here? We'll talk about all of it and more on the flip side of this commercial break. The Rome Show, back after this.
What is one thing every great leader has in common? They challenge their people to not stop at the first right answer. Titan Malugnuts is a leadership book that will teach you how to move past the first right answer with entertaining and detailed examples founded in real-world concepts and experiences. Accelerate towards your professional goals with Titan Malugnuts, one of the best leadership books available.
It's the Rome Show!
Yeah, it is. It's the Rome Show, and we are brought to you by FigTreeGolf.com. Just remember, head to FigTreeGolf.com. Get yourself right for the 2026 summer season. It is right here. It's in front of us. It's May 20th. It's 8 a.m. It's 70 degrees. It's golf season. Head to FigTreeGolf.com and get yourself right. FigTreeGolf.com. Promo code Andrew Romanella. I can't wait. I'm hitting the driving range today with my beautiful fiance, and then we are going tomorrow. I got a tee time with Pops. Friday, I got another tee time for whoever the hell wants to join me. And then Sunday, we also have another tee time. One thing you'll learn, if you don't know it already, one thing you'll understand about Andrew Romanella is if there is an opportunity to be on the golf course, we will take that opportunity. That is for damn sure. Continuing the conversation, Meg wrote, I know what you're saying, but I was gutted after they were stolen and will never forgive the NBA for letting it happen. Listen, they said we didn't have the crowds when we were selling out every game. Listen, that to me is more of an ownership thing than anything else, because you're moving from Seattle to Oklahoma, right? Like the Montreal Expos moved from Canada in Montreal, a province of Canada, to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Okay. So for me, it's like, yeah, you know what? You feel like this is a failing franchise. The ownership group wants to move the franchise somewhere. Let's move it to a bigger city, a better city. They went to Oklahoma. Meg, I can't even believe if the NBA or the Seattle Supersonics at the time were saying that. That's got to be a load of crap, dude. That's got to be a load of crap, because you're moving the team to Oklahoma City. It was such an easy opportunity for them to suck in Oklahoma City. I would actually argue taking a risk. Moving a team to Oklahoma might have been a little bit more nerving than keeping them in Seattle. Interesting. The owner was the CEO of Starbucks at the time, which makes zero sense. Wouldn't you want to stay? Never mind. You know what, Meg? We're going to do a deep dive into the Seattle Supersonics thing, but here's what I do want you to know. The only reason why I am a fan of the National Basketball Association is because of the Seattle Supersonics. Wild, right? Because I didn't like basketball. I became a fan of Kevin Durant while he was at University of Texas. Now, when KD was drafted, I don't know how many people remember this. I do, though. His first season was as a Supersonic. Okay, Kevin Durant was the last Supersonic that I truly can remember. Okay, outside of Ray Allen before he went to the Boston Celtics. But Kevin Durant was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics out of University of Texas, played his first year with the Supersonics, and then Kevin Durant was the face of the transition to Oklahoma City. At the time, I wasn't really a basketball fan. I fell in love with KD in college, and I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going to be a Kevin Durant fan. Okay, I'll be a Seattle Supersonics fan. I was a huge Ken Griffey Jr. fan growing up, so being a fan of something in Seattle did not bother me in the slightest. And then they get moved to Oklahoma City, and sorry, Meg, I got more excited. You know why? Because I'm a Mets fan. So now I'm like, this is awesome. I got the orange, the blue, and the white for basketball. I got the orange, the blue, and the white for the Metropolitans. I got the orange, the white, and the teal for the Miami Dolphins. The only team that really doesn't make any sense in my color pattern scheme would be the New Jersey Devils, but we'll worry about that at a later date. And that is why I am a pseudo. I did all the right things to become an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I've watched a lot of Thunder basketball in my life, even in the moments when they weren't good, even in the moments when they got rid of KD, when it became just Russell Westbrook, when they went from Russell Westbrook to Paul George. I was there for all of it. I was there for all of it. And so for me, it's wild how perception is the reality. So for one fan of the Rome show, they hate basketball because the Supersonics, and another is a huge fan of basketball because of the Oklahoma City Thunder. What a wild state of affairs. But nonetheless, I understand where Meg is coming from, and it's just wild to think that that's where Kevin Durant started his career. Speaking of expansion franchises, the best one in the history of any major sport has to be the Las Vegas Golden Knights, because if you look at the winning they have done since their inception, it is off the charts, including a Stanley Cup championship. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights take on the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals. And I want to give you some numbers and give you a little bit of an idea of what this is going to look like. You have Montreal and Carolina on one side, and you have Vegas and Colorado on the other. I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind that the two best teams remaining are the Carolina Hurricanes and the Colorado Avalanche. And the numbers prove it, okay? But if you look deeply, especially on the defensive side of what the Vegas Golden Knights have done in their 12 playoff games this year, they really do have the ability, goaltending and defense-wise, to go toe-to-toe with the Colorado Avalanche. In 12 games this postseason, the Vegas Golden Knights have an 8-4 record. But in those 12 games, they give up an average of 2.08 goals per game. That is off the charts ridiculous. When you're talking about a Colorado Avalanche team that's going to have players like Nathan McKinnon on it, who have the ability to score at will. When you're talking about a Colorado Avalanche team that has goal scorers defensively, goal scorers offensively, that is a super important statistic, and the most important statistic for this Vegas Golden Knights team coming into this series, because on the flip side, in the 9 games, 8-1 record that the Avalanche have played in this postseason, they're only giving up 2.11 goals per game. So it is going to be the team that finds a way to squeeze out the space and time from the other that's going to have an advantage in this series, because you're looking like a lot of 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 games, as it should be when two of the top 4 teams in the league square off. But these two teams, okay, coming into this moment of the postseason, are the two best teams defensively and goaltending in the league, let alone what the statistics show through the first 2 rounds. And there's firepower. You got a McKinnon on one side, you got a Jack Eichel on another, and then others in between. And there's firepower offensively, but both of these teams have proven through good goaltending, okay, Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood for Colorado, which is wild to think. How many times have you seen a team that you feel like is good enough to win the Stanley Cup play a 2-goalie system, coach just playing who is hot, and it's working right now? And then you have a few different options right now in net for the Vegas Golden Knights with their goaltending. It is Carter Hart, who has played all 12 playoff games with a .917 save percentage, 2.37 goals against. It's going to be fun, man. It is going to be fun. Avalanche are favored overall. The Avalanche are favored at a line of -192 in tonight's game, with Vegas coming in at +160. I think this series is going 7 games. We'll worry about the Eastern Conference tomorrow, trying to get resident hockey expert Rocky Romanella on the show to really break it down. The Seattle Seahawks best expansion team, the Knights, are a close second. I would like to look that up, Meg. I would like to look that up because in the less than 10 years of the Vegas Golden Knights, have they done more or less winning than the first years of the Seattle Seahawks? That's what I would like to know. That is where I think, because obviously Seattle, the Seahawks have existed for significantly longer than the Vegas Golden Knights. So they have a little bit more totality in terms of how long they've been in existence. So the Golden Knights, 2017 was their first season. Okay. Vegas Golden Knights, 2017. And in that time, they've been rather impressive. They've won a Stanley Cup. Okay, so according to the notes and the numbers, you're probably talking about the two best franchises in expansion history, Meg. And we'll take some time to see 1976 for the Hawks. So let me ask you this, and I don't know if you know this answer. What was the first 10 years of the Seattle Seahawks? Because if the first 10 years of Seattle Seahawks was a Super Bowl and 7 playoff appearances, then I would agree with you. But if it's not that, then the best expansion franchise of all time has to be the Vegas Golden Knights based on what they are doing right now, year in and year out. We do it day in and day out here on The Rome Show, and I hope you enjoy it. YouTube.com/The Romanellas, Twitter X, and Instagram. Follow us. Support the show, The Rome Show Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you, Meg, as always, for tuning in. 15 years, no Super Bowl or playoffs for the Seahawks. But overall, Mount Rushmore. Greatest teams ever invented in the last 50 years. No doubt. I'm Andrew Romanella. I'll be back tomorrow. You have an electric day. Peace!
Thank you for listening.